I'm excited to tell you guys a story. A story about the creation of all of existence in the campaign setting of DC20. This is the first of many. This is the first official lore dump of DC20. I'm going to give you some context for where this kind of fits, the big picture stuff, how this will look overall, and disclaimer, and then I'm going to get into the story. And if you're watching this later and after the fact, then you're going to see me shift to this. And when the screen is clear, that's when I'm telling the story. So here we go. So this is super exciting because I had no idea you guys wanted so much lore. Even back when the Kickstarter was launching, you're like, lore. I was like, what? I thought you wanted mechanics, man. So the lore of DC20 is going to be something that you can use in your, and it's system agnostic as far as that goes. I want the lore to be cool stories and a cool stage for you to tell stories on top of, right? So absolutely, right? Re-upping membership, lore fee. Dustbreaker, 7 months member. Appreciate you, brother. So heck yeah, lore stream. Let's go. Bring on the lore. Lore is not my jam. I can make up my own story. Hey, yeah, exactly. Right. So I did not think people would be like as excited for lore as I was, but hopefully even for the homebrew game masters out there, you can take pieces or nuggets of what this is and use them in your games, campaign, story, world building, deities, pantheons, whatever. Right. So there's that. And then this lore is going to be the third Kickstarter, is what this is going to eventually evolve into as far as the campaign setting book. The first Kickstarter already happened. If you missed it, what were you doing? The first Kickstarter obviously is the core rules of the game, and then the second Kickstarter is going to be both the monster manual and the advanced gameplay guide / game master's guide, whatever you want to call it. Those are the next 2 books, and there's going to be 2 books at once, right? Am I crazy? Maybe. But then the third Kickstarter is the campaign setting. So check that out, right? Lore stream hype. Let's go, Fred. Lore is cool, but Commander Data was way cooler. Commander Data, more subclasses. Path of Most Resistance wants more subclasses. And trust me, the majority of these live streams have been revealing mechanics and stuff. And technically, this is the 28th. It's the first lore live stream that I've ever done. So there's that, right? The only other context, only other disclaimer here is I'm just excited to share this with you guys. I've been working on this for a long time. This has been something I've just been doing by myself and the campaign that I'm running. I've been world building. I've been doing all this stuff. Whenever DC20 was happening, a lot of stuff had to do with like, okay, well, like when I make the cleric and all these other things, like what are the deities? What are the pantheon? What's this? All that kind of stuff. So I wanted to be able to have that and do that. And whenever I started the campaign in DC20, whenever we stopped my Curse of Stride game and I switched over to DC20, playing it as like a weekly campaign, I wanted it to be in the campaign setting so I could play test it more, flesh it out more, all that kind of stuff, right? So, Joe M's on his honeymoon is saying hello. Quick hello from the honeymoon. Love you, Coach. Love you, Joe. Thanks for checking in on your honeymoon. Don't let your wife see this. What are you doing? Logan, gods. I don't know what that last one is. Gods. Here's how this is going to go. I am going to ignore super chats for right now. As far as while I'm going through the breakdown, I'm going to just do a full blown, like I'm going to tell you guys a story. And then afterwards we'll talk in the chat about it, right? So how this is going to go, I'm going to tell the story. And then I also think it's important to tell the full story in context without like stopping and pausing, so that I can reference this later, because this is going to be something people ask about and I can just point them to this whole situation. So yeah. And then I'm going to stop, and whenever I'm done with that, I'll come back to this and be like, hey, what's up? And we'll start talking. I want to talk to the chat, see what y'all think, kind of go back and forth with all that. And then I'll get caught up on the super chats, and we'll see what we have time for as far as questions go. But there we go. Oh my God, your wife's with you and says hello. Hello, Joem's wife. Hello, Joem's wife. I wish you had said her name, because I could have said her name. I could have said her name right there. Thank you, Joem's wife, for supporting Joem, messaging me during y'all's honeymoon. Next level. Truly love it. And yeah, I am going to make it into a video. I'm going to make it into a video so we can point to it. And anytime you want to talk about lore, y'all can point to this like starter video, right? So time to Coach to read us a bedtime story. I know, right? And this is the beginning. This is the story about the beginning of the creation of the world, the campaign setting of DC20. So that, I think, is enough context, and I think we're going to get in. If you guys want to, I have actually, normally my chat is right here. And then, but since I have this little story right here, I'm going to read off of it right there. And I put the chat right here. So I still can see the chat. And if you guys like some of the stuff I say about certain key points or elements, y'all can say a 10 or numbers 1 through 10 about interesting stuff like that. Y'all can say out numbers or like, ooh, yeah, just a gauge of feedback. I'm not going to be able to read actual, things, especially while I'm telling the story. But I definitely, when I'm done telling the story, I want to go to the chat and see what you guys think. Prehydrate. Oh my gosh. T-Dog already says 10. Let's go. Brandon says 20. Brandon, I messaged you on Discord. What are you doing? Answer me. Come on, man. All right. So, let's go. 30. Whoa. Prehydration. There we go. Let me turn this off. Okay. I didn't think about an intro to this at all. But that's the nice beauty of this thing is I'm not stressed out about YouTube and algorithms and performing and getting audience retention and say something clickbaity and all this kind of stuff at the beginning to keep up. I just want to tell a story and people can watch it or not, you know what I'm saying? And if you love it, you love it, and that's awesome, and I hope it helps you in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, I guess what's the introduction to this whole situation? It's the beginning. So yeah, all right, here we go. Last hydration. DC20 campaign setting lore. This is the first video of many. I'll probably eventually make this into a series or a playlist of some kind to talk about the lore of DC20. This is the beginning, the creation story of the world, how things started from the literal conception of the universe. And some Pantheon stuff, which I guess I shouldn't say Pantheon, the start of a Pantheon, the start of the first species of mortals to be put into the world, all that type of stuff. And then we'll stop at a part that's maybe a cliffhanger, and I'll continue the story later. But this is the campaign setting of DC20. You absolutely can use this in any tabletop story you're telling at all, and you can kind of see what the pieces are here as we get going here. So here we go. The beginning. I have the story written out. I wrote it out. This is absolutely not like some sort of super professionally written thing. This is just me writing it and telling you guys a story about the beginnings of DC20 lore. Here we go. In the beginning, there was nothing except for Albion. Albion was the one prime deity and the only thing in all of existence. Or I guess you should say nothingness. He sat in a hollow void all alone. He wondered what he was capable of. Curious as to what was possible. What could he even do? What kind of powers did he have? He didn't even know where he came from or how the creation of life worked, what he was capable of, like I said. The thought of creation itself was fascinating to him, but what would happen if he created life? Should this even be done? How would he manage it? Should he manage it? Imagine, and this is a side note for myself, is I've always thought it'd be very interesting to think of a deity that isn't necessarily all-knowing. It's a deity that is existing and has this immeasurable power, immense power. What do you do with it? Creating life. If you were in charge of all of life, what decisions would you have to make? What's the best decision? How do you handle things? I think that's really fascinating. There's a little timeout. I want you to put yourself in Albion's shoes there. How would you do it? What would you do? So, Albion's first attempt at creating life isn't to create new life, but it's to split his own in two. He wanted a partner to create the universe with, an opposite to discuss things with, brainstorm with, talk out this conundrum he was currently having. A yin to his yang, a balance to himself, an opposite, you could say. And my other existential timeout here is, wouldn't you want to talk to someone else about something this important when you're having these thoughts about how I'm going to create existence, I'm going to do all these things? Let's hash it out. In a way, and split himself in two. So he splits himself in two, no longer being one single all-powerful entity. We'll get back to that in a second, maybe in a future story. But he is now half of what he was in two different halves, right, of equal power. So instead of being the singular all-powerful deity, he splits himself in two and creates Zaya. Albion, Zaya, A-Z, there's a little, now, there's Albion, the father of creation, and Zaya, the mother of creation. Mother Nature, get the idea. Albion is the more masculine and embodies raw elements, fire, lightning, ice, while Zaya is the more feminine and nurturing, embodying the forces of life, plants, animals, and nature. But the two are not romantic in any way. This is not some sort of like, oh yeah, they're opposites created. He created the opposite of him. No, they are not romantic in that way. They are just a masculine and feminine and two entities of divine power, two prime deities, right? And two opposites of the same power level. The duality of the now two prime gods face the question and the mysteries of what creation is and how it works and how other life forms could interact with each other and what their purpose is in all of this, what role they play. And now Albion has somebody to discuss things with, right? His other half. But something strange and unexpected happened. With the creation of Zaya, a plane of existence was also born at the same exact time. The material plane. Earth, if you want to think of it like that, right? Whatever the name, TBD on the name of the planet, right? But the material plane is another connection to Zaya being Mother Earth. This is the Mother Earth type situation. This is when Zaya was created. At the same time, the material plane sprung into existence. Zaya felt a strong connection to it and also an ability to create life within it, almost even a calling to do so. To create life in it. Calling will be something we can come back to as well. But she waited for now. They were fascinated with this automatic creation of the material plane, and they discovered that a divine being, whenever a divine being is created, they made a guess, they made a hypothesis. Whenever a divine being is created, there's also a plane of existence created at the same time. And something else, some calling that they have of creation, but Zaya decided not to tap into that calling yet. So they thought about tapping into this celestial draw that Zaya had, but they waited, and instead they filled the material plane with all sorts of creatures. Zaya created animals and plants, while Albion created elementals and golems. They could both create creatures, but they looked a bit different, even though they tried to make the same thing. So Zaya would make a dog, like a house pet type situation, or even like a simple wolf creature, whereas Albion would create a dire wolf or a massive hound with like horns, like a monstrosity type creature. Zaya would create a gecko that could its saliva could heal and heal plants and be able to heal wounds on other creatures, whereas Albion would create a dinosaur, right? So they were similar as far as what they could do, but it just was a little bit different whenever it came out. More to come on dragons. What? Who created creation of dragons? What? Anyway, this continued for a while until they decided it was time to explore this mysterious aspect of creation that only Zaya had access to, that calling that she had. They called this a life spark. It was a more divine and unique aspect of creation, because at this point there is no mortals, just to be clear. It's just a bunch of animals and creatures and plants on the planet. And this spark would be what creates the first mortals in existence. Humans. This felt different. This felt unique. Albion could not create humans, only Zaya. They now discovered that whenever a deity is created, not only is a plane also created, but also a people. So with the creation of Zaya came the material plane and the ability for her to create humans as well. They discussed it together and they decided they wanted to create mortals, mankind. Humankind in this case. Albion had ideas of order and rules that they must follow and obey. But Zaya disagreed. Mortals should have free will. Their discussions continued until they came to an agreement, and then Zaya closed her eyes, tapped into that divine draw to the life spark, outstretched her hand towards the material plane, and created the first humans. These were just like a divine creation of like, you get the idea. The first humans were created. Creation of life on the material plane continued to evolve and expand. She created different pockets of humans across the entire material plane, all over, all different kinds of humans across everything. And then she stepped back and let them do their things. Maybe she would go and create another human for certain things. And there's plenty of things you get into on her and Albion's talks of how to handle this whole thing, which gets me to creation of life in the material plane continued to evolve and expand. Humans had free will, and as such began to do both good and bad things. Civilizations began to rise and fall. Wars began to outbreak. Do they intervene? Do they let them die? How should they rule over mankind? Should they rule over mankind at all? These are the type of questions. Another little timeout is what you've created. Like, how big of a role, how much of a hand do you have in this thing? Is it your call? Just imagine creating existence and then them fighting with each other. What are you doing? Stop it, right? This battling amongst themselves is what provokes Albion to create an immensely powerful creatures. The most powerful creatures in existence. A type of creature that would be able to protect the humans from themselves and possibly cause them to stop their incessant bickering and squabbles out of fear of these anciently powerful creatures. What are these creatures? What happens whenever these creatures are created? What does it ripple into? How does the world respond? Where do where do elves and gnomes and dwarves and halflings and other ancestries that are already in DC20? Where do these come from? All those questions and more will be answered in future. I am filming this video right now in the middle of a live stream, and however much interest this video gets, or things and people asking this in live streams also, we'll continue to expand on this over time, and eventually this will be a official book in the campaign setting, the third Kickstarter of DC20, and but that's a ways into the future, but it's fun to be able to release and talk about this type of stuff now. So if you liked it, awesome. Check it out. There's going to be more stuff to see. You can check out all the links down in the description for more DC20 stuff and other video stuff. So stay creative, think outside the box, outside the universe. Peace. So there's that. So I'm back to the chat now. 10 out of 10 on the bean scale. 20 out of 10. Penguins. Oh my God, y'all said penguins. Oh my God, y'all said penguins. Oh no, I'm glad I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't see the penguins. Human beings. Oh, that's funny. Yin and yang. A hydration check. I no, not during. I can't hydration check during. I can now though. Dragons. Yes, dragons. Giants, dragons. Oh, interesting. Doug Morales, appreciate the super chat. And now I'm going to come back to all the other super chats. I'm going to stay here in the chat for a second. Two faces of the same coin. Not enough info to write. Yeah, that's. I wanted to start it off as far as that goes. I can maybe, you know what? No, I can't. I'd have to do another. I'll do another follow up, right? So yeah, Dragwins. Oh my gosh. A teaser. Okay. So how about this? How about this for a teaser? I'll do a vote. I'm gonna start a poll. I'll do a vote. What next? More lore or go into Q&A? I want to see how this poll goes. It's a 2-question poll. More lore, and I tell you the next little part here. It's not something I've written out, but obviously I know it. Or just go right into Q&A. Save it for later. Oh, wow. More lore. Okay, and depending on the percentage, I'm also going to see how much lore. If it's like 100-0, I would just keep going a bit more. And if it's, but it's looking at 72. So I'll do another. I will talk about the next section, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So we definitely will have a Q&A, and I'll get caught up on the super chat. Give me more lore. Okay, got you. Yeah, more lore. Okay, got you. And then oh, hey, nice. The twins. Oh, okay. We'll get into that. All right. So basically, the next part of this lore, the cliffhanger that you people here on the live stream get to check out. If they just watch the videos, they just see the videos. That's all it is, right? But live streams, y'all get the exclusive access. So then in poll, there we go. So basically, imagine. The thing I really do like maybe the most about these Albion and Zaya situation is they're very human. In the real world sense, they are relatable in that way. Imagine creating freaking existence, y'all. Like, what? And now they're fighting with each other. God dang it, you know. And Zaya's taking the stance of like more nurturing and like, okay, let's make sure that we can help and heal the ones that are sick. And then Albion, like, there's humans that are creating diseases, and Zaya's like, oh no, let me try and help this out and do this into the more nurturing aspect. And Albion's like, all right, that's enough. This is enough of this. And he creates dragons. He creates, right now, as far as the lore goes, and I could go into a separate thing on dragons. I'm not going to talk about the lore of dragons. I guess right now I'm talking about where they come from. But Albion creates dragons. He creates 6 prime dragons. And that's probably as much as I'll say about the logistics of dragons. And then, God dang it. I see what you did there, right? So he creates 6 dragons, right? So he created life and existence and stuff, but he creates 6 dragons that he places them purposefully around the world, like spreads them out equidistant around each other, you know, around the world. And is like, all right, here we go. This is where, and now listen up, people. These dragons are here now. Stop it. Or else. So stop it, right? And then they have free will. Just like the humans had free will, the dragons have free will. So what do you think the dragons do? Some of the dragons are good and beacons of what Albion created them for, to uphold and protect. Some of them don't care at all, and they just kind of do their own dragon stuff, and they just kind of have their own agenda. And some are evil, truly evil dragons, and they start to destroy humanity. So now, well, okay, that's a huge problem now. Just literally imagine that you are these Albion Zaya, and you're like, oh God. So, oh God, the puns, right? So now dragons have their own free will and are messing things up alongside humans who have their own free will and are messing things up. But it's now not fair. You have dragons that can absolutely wipe the floor with humans. Like, they can absolutely just destroy them, right? So we need to intervene. Albion needs to intervene once again to what he thought would help the humans by creating dragons. He has to intervene in a more specific way to help and protect humans. So I want to see if in the chat who can pick up where I'm going from here. What do you think Albion does, Event Horizon? What do you think Albion does to combat the dragons, to be able to give the humans a fighting chance against dragons? Time Toast, you're onto something as well. Magic, dragon, okay, no, obviously penguins, okay, and we're going with the penguins. Nice. Yes, giants. And specifically, in some instances, you could say titans. So Albion then, he's like, okay, well, if they have free will, I can't create new things like he tried with dragons, because they'll just have free will and then, right? So Albion had to choose based on merit of how they've lived their lives up to this point. He had to choose humans. And a select section of humans across the entire world. He selected a certain amount, which is right now is undisposed. There's a certain amount of humans that he selected, and there are different types of giants: fire giants, cloud giants, storm giants, etc. Right, for ice giants and stuff. He picked different people from across civilization that embodied what it meant to be a good person, a good human, right? He chose certain tribes, certain groups of humans that embodied that, and those groups of people were ascended to become giants, and they could fight back against the dragons. And the leader, the absolute epitome, the head of each of those, however many there are, each became a titan. Those were the titans, very much larger, very much more powerful, all that stuff. And then their people that they were with became giants, and that's where giants and titans came from. It was a response to fight back against dragons so that humans could stand a chance, right? So now that became the power struggle that was now more fair in that way. And somebody also talked about magic in general. There was not a lot of magic at this right now at this phase of the world. There's not a lot of magic, not a lot of it. Didn't see the need to be, right? There was maybe some people could figure out how to tap into the magic, but a lot of the magic was kind of Zaya based, like nature magic. Druids would be the most popular kind of magic type situation because Zaya was there. Zaya was part of the material plane. Zaya like is the earth and material plane type stuff. Tapping into her and her being very giving and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, druids. Yeah, right. But the arcane and other aspects of that, which would be towards Albion's side of the spectrum of all things. Albion was a bit more guarded, a bit more standoffish, did not allow people to tap into magic as much. Sometimes people might be able to hack into magic, but that comes at a later time. So that now, as another little foreshadowing piece there, that now after two people, Albion and Zaya, created humanity and went through all the struggles and trials of essentially raising kids. Imagine the struggles and stress of raising kids and what it called, but you do it together and you can, and the struggle and dynamic and teamwork of all of that, creating existence, which seems a bit crazy. The dragons, the giants, and all of that caused Albion and Zaya to truly be bonded, and then have a little bit of a romantic situation, and then they be like fall for each other in a sense, a little bit of a romance story there, I guess. But they fall for each other in that way, in an actual natural way that was over lots and lots of time, and then they became romantic in a sense, and that's where I'll leave that cliffhanger off as to what would possibly happen if Albion and Zaya created life in a different means apart from the life spark situation. So there's that. I'll leave that for them. And then, Spectre Nadir. Oh, I see. So yeah, there's kids brush your teeth. I'll make a dragon again. I'll make another dragon. So yeah. But anyway, birth of the other planes. Oh, y'all are putting it together. Oh, you see what I'm saying? The other planes of existence. So there we go. There's a little bit of foreshadowing there. So yeah, that is the lore dump there, and y'all got the extra little layer of lore dump too. So cool. Now, if you guys have questions, hit it up with a hashtag question. Hit it in the chat. I see Wolves is here. So we're good to go there. I'll hit some live stream. We're here 100%. Cool. And let me get caught up on the super chats because I muted them during the lore dump. Justin Birch's JDB first time streamer fee. First, welcome, dude. Either working or sleeping normally. Love the work you're doing. Can't wait. Also, lore. You did that during the lore, bro. So welcome, dude. Welcome. I love that this is the first one you came to, but you've seen other ones enough to know about the fee inside joke. So you're part of the inside joke even before this now. Let's go. Logan, I'm hoping what? All I am hoping is for a more established, consistent lore than Cough Wizards. Retcon after retcon gets tiresome. Yeah. I don't plan on that at all. So and as you can see, even the lore that I'm putting out there, it is not going to rub a bunch of people the wrong way. It's very as far as down the middle, it's not going to go crazy of like, oh yeah, there's this evil race that everyone hates always. No, I've already talked about that with the cursed ancestries, which are not evil, even though it sounds like they might be. So I'm being very cognizant of making sure that I do it right so that I don't have to keep redoing it. I agree. And then I see you, Dougster. And then Ominous Threat. I have to read all super chats from Ominous Threat like this. Would you ever be willing to add your followers as NPCs or companions as actual lore? If so, how would we go about doing that? Would you ever be willing to add your followers as NPCs/companions as actual lore? Add my followers as my companions. If you're talking about adding like community members to the lore, I firmly don't believe in doing that in the same way that I firmly would never like the legendary backer tier. The legendary backer, the biggest backer tier that was possible on Kickstarter. I actually did some stuff on the legendary backers today. But that tier, the crazy level of support, that tier was to make something and like, you want me to make something custom? Cool, I'll make something custom. Here you go. But never will I ever have people pay for or just because I have committed to something outside for some meta reasons, make something and put it into the game. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's ever a good thing. Even if somebody's crazy awesome and they made a crazy awesome thing and it's there, you know what I'm saying? I hope that crazy awesome idea I would see through a super chat. I would see through a comment in a video. I would see through feedback on Discord, wherever, right? But I don't ever believe in like absolute crowdsourcing and like pulling and pulling everything together, and then it's disconnected. And I have a very different creation plan for that. So I don't know if I answered that question, but that's what I thought you were getting at. Maybe, I don't know. Wheeler, what's up, Wheeler? Late fee. Sorry, I was penguin hunting. For those of you who don't know, Wheeler is trying to eradicate all of the penguins in existence, so we have to protect them from Wheeler. So people go out there. Hopefully somebody was penguin protecting while Wheeler was penguin hunting. What's up, Wheeler? Steph Vandervelden. I love that. First time stream, late fee. Sleepers for the week. I'm so excited for 0.9. It will help me convince my 2-shot DC20 players to use DC20 not just for 1-shots, but also for our main campaign. What could help convince them? DC 0.9. You know, honestly, what might convince them is the stuff coming in 9.5. 0.9.5. Some of that stuff is fire. It is so exciting, to the point where I was almost like, you know what? Maybe I push it back a little more to get it in there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so good. But I was like, that's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. So I love everything we're doing for DC20 and continuing to elevate the game. But I don't want the excitement for that to hold back the game from getting to you guys. So we're going to get to y'all, and then we'll continue with more frequent updates instead of a long time for a big update. So I think maybe the convincing will be seeing 0.9, being able to play to level 4, seeing the subclasses, dude. I'm telling you, if they read one subclass that they're excited about, they're, oh my God, this is sick. The gameplay, the feel of it, the mechanics. Oh yeah. That, and then 0.9, and then spells, and then we got him, bro. Liam, this is a guest, first wild magic, then primal, then arcane, last divine. What? First wild magic, then primal, then arcane, last divine. Are you saying from a lore standpoint? I don't know if I would agree with that from a lore standpoint. First, I would say is divine, because it's just Albion, and then he is arcane, she is nature or primal, and then wild is like the middle ground between them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I like where your head's. I like where you're thinking about, Liam. Vapor Light, any update on the spell overhaul? Oh, the spell overhaul is just constantly in the works. Every single Wednesday, I do a Patreon live stream, and I showcase all the spells, where we're at with spells. And we did a lot of stuff last week on the live stream with spells, and a lot of really cool insights and a lot of really cool stuff. So that's something I do every Wednesday. It's a Patreon live streams. But as far as an update on spell overhaul, that's going to be a ways in the future, because we still got 9.5 to get out, and then spells, and we'll start seeing some spells trickle in probably after about 1 to 2 months. We'll start to see more things coming in about spells, and you see like maybe like the first spell type situation. But we have some stuff to polish off with 9.5 first before we can get into that, and I'm very excited to tell you guys about 9.5 and the armor rework. So Rex Room, as a man in his 20s, I greatly appreciate the gods having no idea what the hell they're doing. Hell yeah, Rex Room. I love that. It's so human, as you very well put it. Nicely done, Rex. Slow Bones. Question. Are you not worried about separating the Artificer-like classes from the main book will end up creating the same stigma in the D&D versions? No, because I have no idea why. Well, I do. I do know why. But that's a long story. D&D has 12 classes, and then one like redhead stepchild 13th artificer, and that's it. And they don't have any more, and I don't think they ever will. That's crazy. DC20 has 20 classes. We have 20 classes. The Scion already fully completed. Artificer very much progressed and moved through the line in a state where it could be completed if we put more time and effort into it instead of focusing on the things we should be focusing on, right? There's 20 different classes in DC20. So absolutely, the Artificer missing the boat on the core rules, not an issue whatsoever. Not an issue whatsoever, because there's going to be plenty of other classes to, you know what I'm saying? And we are also making the game with all classes in mind. And that's as much as I can say on that necessarily, but I love the concern you have, because it's a very accurate concern, because I feel bad for the Artificer in D&D world. So heck yeah. And then Rex Room again. What's up, Rex Room? I really enjoy the dual gods ideal, though I worry about how one creates the other. By making it that way, it feels like there would be a dynamic, power dynamic instead of equality. Well, that's the thing, is however you want to interpret it, right? Like however you want to interpret it. Albion split themselves in two, right? Into two even halves of the same coin, right? So it's like two sides of the same coin. Which side's better? Which side's better, heads or tails? You know, you could ask 1,000 people what's better, heads or tails, and they might have one they pick more often, but like, what? It's the same, you know. I'm going to make it very clear that they are the same, right? As far as the power, it's not like, oh yeah, Albion's main, then there's Zaya. You know, no, they are 50-50, two sides of the same coin, half and half, right? So heck yeah, but I agree with your concern, and that's something that I've also keep a good pulse check on. So I love that. Brandon, oh my gosh, 50 gifted Dungeon Coach memberships, bro. Brandon, I'm looking over here. I messaged you on Discord, and I still haven't heard back from you. But here you are, too busy to message me back because you're gifting 50 Dungeon Coach memberships, dude. Oh my gosh. I have a newsletter that goes out on DC20.com. There's like a thing that pops up. You can join the newsletter. I have a newsletter that's going out, and Bardic Aggravations video is in that newsletter, along with Swordplay and Sorcery. So heck yeah, friggin' DC20 content creators getting some love. Rex Room again, bro. Rex Room, let's go. I feel like it would be better in the initial deity was different than Albion and Zaya. That way they feel more special, perhaps named by the M or N essential alphabet. Oh, interesting. It could be interesting. I would. In fact, let me put this down here. I'll make a little note for myself. First prime deity is a different being, and then splits into Albion and Zaya. Right? Interesting, right? Interesting. I think that's on brand for like what I would want, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like that, you could interpret it that way. Even the story I told, I called them Albion, right? But then like, wah, you know, Albion and Zaya created, blah, 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 two halves of the same coin, right? So, and I would even say maybe the person doesn't even have a name, bro. What if the initial deity didn't even have a name? There was just this nameless thing. What am I? What do I do? Flow. Albion Zaya, right? Let's go. All right. Maybe that's the whole deal. Yep. And then Liam, Zaya's first creation was a penguin. The Beastborn God is a penguin. Oh no. Liam's trying to make canon. Technically, Zaya did create animals, and maybe the first one was a penguin. Who knows? Maybe that's a secret lore right there. Jeff Chambers gifted 10 Dungeon Coach memberships. Jeff Chambers, let's go. Love that. Freaking got the sunglasses on. Freaking chilling, dude. Appreciate you, man. Oh, what awesome, dude. Thank you, Jeff. Let's go. Let me come back to the chat now. Nice. That's freaking 60 memberships gifted. Okay, making it rain green names over here. Thank you guys. Let's go, Jeff. Corey. What a crazy name you have. All right, cool. So now let's go to the questions. Where we at? What we do? Questions. Okay, cool. Joseph Blosser. Question: is there an update on the monster conversion to bring D&D and 5e to other DC20 creatures in DC20? Yeah. So the progression of things, of how things will go, is first we are going to expand the level of the game, which we're doing with 0.9, increasing to level 4, which then we'll start to be able to have level 5 and 6 monsters, because level 4 people can fight level 6 monster, and we can start to release and do that more. And then once we release level 10, that will be the spot where we are going to be making level 10 and beyond monsters, and we can really start to get crazy with it. And that point, we will release some things about to expand on what's already there for monsters to be converted from D&D D&D into DC20. So right now you already can do that in some ways. The Monster Starter Pack, which was sent out for free on the Kickstarter backers, and it's available on the website right now for like $5 or something. That has monsters in it, example monsters, rules of how to make homebrew monsters, templates to be able to just make them yourself. Like all of that stuff's already there for what is currently available right now, levels 1 and 2, right? That PDF will be updated and expanded upon. But I want to make sure that we update it correctly, if that makes sense, right? So I don't want to update it based on hypothesizes, right? You get it. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's one of the things on the docket for sure. We just got to get through the checkpoints first. And then Cro-Magnon question: will dragon colors tie to alignments? Hope not. Oh yeah, no. There's not going to be hard-coded alignments to where like all red dragons are evil, all blue dragons are good, all metallic no. I don't get me started on dragons. We could do a whole, oh man. I do not like dragons being tied to alignment in the way they are, to where they're just one-dimensionally like chromatic dragons are evil, metallic dragons are good. I think it'd be crazy to see a gold dragon rise from a pile of gold coins and be like, I don't know if they're good or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, yep, you know what I'm saying? And dragons aren't just going to be chromatic or metallic. You're going to have ice dragons. You're going to have bark dragons, like from a tree. You're going to have swamp dragons. You're going to have like lava dragons. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have, don't get me started, right? So yeah. And then, we got some super chats. I don't want to, did I miss? I got Jeff there. And then T-Dog, what's up, T-Dog? Keep up the good work. I'm curious to see how this not all-knowing God is going to play out. Not sure I feel for the balancing act of creating, but curious to see a lot more. Yeah, I think it's going to be, there is a climax to that story that will give you, and after you hear that part of the calamity of the God War type situation, which there's a little teaser there for you, T-Dog. Let me know after that. Let me know how you think after that. Harry Cow, towards not letting Wheeler veto Liam's idea. Wheeler. Oh no, Wheeler and Liam are there. There's a battle. There's a battle in the super chats. Liam, the dark void outside the plains beyond on sight of the gods is where the eldritch beings come from. Ooh, Liam, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're trying to get me to release more lore, but maybe you're right. Maybe there was things outside the even Albion or the entity known as Albion and Zaya before they were there. Why were they there? Where did they come from? What's outside and beyond the known eldritch beings? What? This is crazy. Fuzzy dragons? I just saw fuzzy dragons. A dragon? Whoa. Cameron D has a question. I've been reading and taking notes on the 0.8 beta. What % of content in 0.9 would you say is identical to 0.8? Hope to run a DC20 one-shot for my friends eventually. That, Cameron, that is a great freaking question. Oh my gosh. No one's asked that question. And the answer, this is such a great question. I'm going to try and give you a really great answer. If you only look at what's in 0.8 and you don't count like subclasses or new things added to the game, you don't count that. You only look at what exists in 0.8 and how much of it changed going to 0.9. I would say 95% is the same. 90+% easily. 95% is the same. The goal of 0.9 was not to change the game. It was to add subclasses to it. Now, certain things were changed. There's something called combat training instead of combat mastery. So there's some like vocabulary changes, but that's designed to make it more clear and more easy to digest and understand. So that's better improvements in that way, right? Quality of life changes, but not mechanical changes. That is the goal. 0.9 and 0.8 to 0.9. Quality of life changes, yes. But then, man, oh man, did we add 52 subclasses. You know what I'm saying? Boom, and now you can get to level 4. Woohoo! Right? That is that's what's exciting about that. Now, 9.5, on the other hand, 9.5 changes some things. So of the 100% of what the game will be of 0.9, going from 0.9 to 0.9.5, there's about 30% of chunk of changes coming on. And the majority of that chunk of changes is coming to armor and defense and shields overhaul. If you're familiar, if y'all are stuck around long enough from the weapons overhaul, going from 0.7 to 0.8, the weapons were overhauled, and weapon system is amazing. Everyone has loved it. It's one of the highlights of DC20 now. We are doing that same treatment to armor, and it has been a big one. The armor changes will probably be the last big overhaul to DC20. The armor system is a bigger change than I ever thought would happen at this point in progression, but man, oh man, is it amazing. And I might be talking about it probably in like 2 weeks. I might be dropping it here in the live stream. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. So if you ever had any clunks or issues or clunkiness having to do with mystical defense or stuff like that, let me know. The wife just texted me. 1 second. Wait, what? Oh, goodness. 1 second. I will be right back. My wife just texted me. Our kid has 104 temperature. 1 second. Okay, all right. So yeah, Talon has 104 or had 104.1 temperature. She gave him a cold bath. I heard that going on, but now it's down to 102. So yeah, he was having a rough day, rough night last night. We had to keep checking on everything like 3 hours. He had like 103, 102. He was like flirting right there at the spot where you're like, need to take him into the ER or not type situation, but he was like fighting through it. So. So yeah, I'm gonna check on him again, check his temperature after the stream. But anyway, let's get back to that. She's with him right now. He's good. He's fine. We checked on him and all that stuff. So his temperature's coming back down. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's hydrating and stuff now. So I'm gonna keep checking on his temperature. If it doesn't get better, then for sure pull the trigger on the ER. But yeah, we'll see if it's an interesting night tonight. Hydration check. Yeah, for freaking talent, he's hydration check. Shoot, right? Shoot. Yeah. Oh no. And I don't. I would absolutely end the stream right now, but my wife's literally in there with him right now, and we decided not to take him right now. So, yeah, there we go. Whew. All right. So where were we at? What? 2-shot Witcher. Okay. Let me get caught up. How about this? Let me get caught up on this. I left. Super chat while I was gone. Crazies. Dark Void. Yeah. Classes revolve. There we go. Class that revolve around mundane professions that isn't level 0, like farmer, merchant, artisan, blacksmith, doctor. No magic at all. A cool idea. Well, I already released level 0 of DC20 in a DC20 magazine. So there's that. That would be another way to play the game level 0 and before that, right? So that already technically exists in the DC20 magazine. I think it's volume 2 or 3. But yeah, so love that. Vapora. Be a farmer. I love that. Party hardy. Get wealthy. Thanks, man. Hope he feels better and no one else gets it. That's my mother-in-law had it. Then she came in, gave it to Carter, my youngest son. And then both boys were kind of sick. And then she gave it to, or someone else gave it to Sarah. And then Sarah, my wife, was sick. And then she gave it to Talent, and now me and Carter are okay, and we're the last ones remaining. So yeah. It's moving around. So I gotta stay hydrated. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Party Hardy. And then oh my God, wait, Kusukenkan, get wealthy. I really tried my best to read that. I hope I didn't butcher it. Thank you for that. And then Jeremy Grimes, I like God being nameless and splitting the Albi and Zaya. It makes them more equal. The prime deity being nameless, it makes it more male and female combined. Yeah, I think that is cool. I think that is ultimately that was even the intention of like having there being an entity and then it splits into two opposites, right? I think that's perfect. So yeah, I think the first prime deity is just called the prime deity, right? And then the prime deity split in two. I think that's super cool. And that's, I am pretty much sold on it. I just don't like making decisions while talking with people. And I feel like we're all here just chatting and stuff. But I absolutely could see myself that's why I made a big old note right there. So I love that. I love the feedback too. Thank you for that feedback, like live, right? But what if a player wants to be a farmer level 1 through 10? Vapora? That's wild. Vapora, that's wild. I don't see the class of farmer being a viable combat class levels 1 through 10, because a farmer would be not even level 1, right? Now you could absolutely in DC20 make a farmer. You can get some druid domain, harvesting those crops in those domains. You can do multi-class Paragon farmer. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Let's go. And then okay, yeah, Monday. I see what y'all was saying with that. I was going to Q&A. Okay, so and now we're in the shot clock. We're five minutes out. I always do a shot clock. Here we go. I apologize for the fast rate at which I have to answer these. I hate doing this, but I do think it's what's best to answer more questions because there's so many questions get asked that I ever am able to answer now, especially with so much support from the super chat. So thank you for the super chatters. It really does help support DC20 and these live streams and the lore things and all the stuff we're doing behind the scenes. So thank you guys. So Stephen Tomsky, question: what's the spelling of the feminine prime deity? How I have Zaya spelled right now, I'm open to it has to start with a Z in my mind. It has to start with a Z, so it's not with an X. But ZIAH is how I have it right now, or I could see a ZYA, Zaya, ZYA. So the how I have it written in my document is ZIAH, but that almost looks like Zia. Right, so maybe it's Zaya, ZYA is probably the best way to go. So it's ZYA, I think might be what I almost even lock in right now. So there you go. And then Jake the Beast, what about purple dragons? I can confirm one of the 6 dragons is purple. Okay, there you go, Jake. Squeeze some lore out of me because you said the word purple. Does media lie? Has a question. Are there evil titans or giants, or are the majority of them all good? All of the titans that were chosen by Albion, all of the titans that were chosen and ascended to become giant/titans, all of them were good. At the time in which they were chosen to become a titan, what do they do with that newfound power? Does one of them become a titan and see all of this power and choose to do something with it? Oh, he's going to make the world right himself. Ooh, I see you. I see you, media. Media lie. You see, we're synced up. Felix Fortuna. Question. What about the other gods? Like the ones who made the Beastmen? Ooh, that is for a future live stream. Because technically, there's only 2 gods, which technically means there's one is split, and one prime deity, and it's, you know what I'm saying? So there's only 2 prime deities, Albi and Zaya. There's not even any other gods right now. But what was that cliffhanger I left you guys on? What happens? What are those? Where do they come? What happens? Where do the other planes come from? Ooh, God War. What's happening? Oh, so much to talk about. Ozono. Did the dragons have arcane magic at the time? Also, just primal or nature magic? I would say the dragons had arcane magic. Absolutely. They came from Albion, who is arcane itself, right? Like the entire arcane, what's it called? Arcane incarnate, right? So yeah. And then, primal nature magic. There was, I would say the material plane had access to a little bit of nature magic, not really divine except through the actual deities, and not arcane because Albion chose to gatekeep that arcane until something happens in the future. Time toast. So if druids were tapping into Zaya, then does magic come from gods necessarily? Is there a takeaway? Is there a way to hack into the magic of reality without needing to connect with the deity? Yes. I had a little bit of I mentioned this a little bit when somebody first asked that, but at the time in which I left off in the current lore story I gave, at that time, there were some wizards, but these wizards were like back alley black magic wizards who are tapping into magic when they are not supposed to. So yeah, that is very, very there. Yes, there's that. And it also blurs the line of like divine magic and arcane and divine magic and nature. Because like if nature comes from a divine deity and arcane comes from a divine deity, like the divine, what's, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit of a interesting pool here at the place in which it currently exists now, but just wait till the cataclysm happens. But anyway, Hakapult. Question: lore reason for people gaining strength to fight back against dragons. Lore reason for people gaining strength to fight back against dragons. I thought I said the lore reason. The TLDR lore reason is dragons. Dragons were created to stop and almost intimidate people to stop battling themselves, but then the dragons had free will, and then some of the dragons started destroying people, and then Albion's like, well, okay, I created dragons to protect people, but now they're killing them. All right. And then he gave power to the humans so they could protect themselves against dragons, the thing that he created itself. So now the lore reasoning behind that is Albion knows that he cannot create creatures that don't have free will. So then with the humans that already had free will and the ones that showed and proved themselves through their choices of being alive and making choices, he handpicked the select few to become titans. And that was his way of kind of skirting the system of free will in that aspect. But then there's that one titan that fell. Anyway. And then last one is from Tom. While I'm answering this super chat, everybody say something in the chat. I do a giveaway. Every live stream I do a DC20 giveaway. I give away a copy of DC20 and the Monster Starter Pack. And if you already have it, I upgrade you and give you something else. I upgrade your Kickstarter. I add in metal dice. I add in action trackers. I throw in another hardcover book. I make it rain if you already back the Kickstarter. But if not, I throw out a copy of DC20. You get a copy of DC20. So last question from Tom G. Question. I love it so far. Quick question. How does the life spark creation of humans, unique to Zaya, differ from Albion's creation of dragons with the intelligence and free will? So that is In itself, actually, that's a great question, and I will pose it like this. So the gods don't know. The gods don't know like what. Okay, so there's this plane created. So the thing they do know is they were split. There was a split that happened. Zaya got the plane of existence, the material plane, but Albion didn't have like that. What's Albion's plane? Is it everything? Is it the outer? What's going on? So that's interesting. And then Zaya could create humans, like a mortal race, and it's a widespread, all this stuff. And then Albion, what's Albion's version of that? And as I kind of alluded to earlier, like whenever Zaya makes a gecko, Albion makes a dinosaur. Whenever Zaya makes a puppy, Albion makes a dire wolf, right? So that aspect is what that alludes to. So essentially, what I'm saying but not saying is Zaya's Zaya's creatures, mortal, entire intelligent beings are humans, and Albions are dragons, right? So in the same way, especially with them being a split in two type deity, in the same way, so that hopefully answers your question about dragons with intelligence and free will, alludes to them, that's their split. Albion creates dragons and Zaya creates humans, right? So there's that. Much different, very different. Like humans, you can create a wild amount of humans, like thousands of millions of humans, whatever. Dragons, only 6 of them. But then there's more, and they can respawn. They spawn in different ways. Anyway, so there's that. Nice question there, Tom. And then Kiwi Kui, you'll never know how to pronounce my handle, and you didn't even tell me how. So now I'm just gonna be able to say Keosukunku, Keskunke-kun. Keskukenku. Gotcha. Ash, what about guidance for DMs as NPC classes? What about guidance for DMs as NPC classes? I don't know 100% where your question's going, but I'll answer it like this: is you absolutely could make an NPC and make it a class, like a player class. You absolutely could do that. I play tested a lot of things by making a PC and having that be like a strong boss battle to fight. There's like the leader of the bandits or whatever, and then to battle them like that. So you absolutely could do that. They are strong because it's like a player, right? So careful with that. Don't make you could make 4 players versus 4 players, and then it's a 50-50 shot if it's a TPK or not. Crazy. Vapor Light, okay, level 10 farmer. Liam, guess the elf, dwarves, halflings, and gnomes gods were the first out. The ones that made the cursed races is the middle child, hence the betterness, and the ones that made the Beastborn was the youngest. Ooh, I would say you were really close in that first half. You're really close in the first half. And you're kind of even close in the middle. So... And then well, that's all I'll say there. But Liam, you have gotten the most lore out of me of anyone ever. So well done there, sir. And Dave Lean, do you see sentient weapons as more of a lore thing, lost knowledge, or current day magic and more divine creation? Sentient items are a part of the lore of DC20, which is funny that you say that. And they are connected in some ways to Albion and sentient life forms like Warforged and other things like that. So there absolutely is some sentient things there. I don't know about lost knowledge, but you say current day magical and or divine creations. They are divine creations in that aspect since they come from Albion in that way, but they're not like all divine and they're all good or anything like that. Like they have a mind of their own, but it's not necessarily good or angelic or celestial in that way. So there we go. Now, the giveaway. Here it is. Winner in the chat. Winner. And the winner is the blank one. The blanket one. Let's go. Congrats. Message a moderator. Go to Discord. Look for a red name. The red names, message a person with a red name, and you win. Bada bing, bada boom. They'll get you hooked up, set up, and good to go. And other than that, that was the first lore drop live stream, and we'll see what people think, and we'll see where this whole thing goes from there. And y'all got the extra sneak peek about the Dragon Giant lore right there as well. So gotcha. And then you're welcome, Dables Ian. Appreciate you, dude. And now I'm gonna go check on my kids' temperature and see what's going on there. So stay great, y'all. Think I said the best.